Okay, it's James. We're live, trainingsites.io. Conversational presence. It's a brand new AI tool from Sesame. And if you're a coach or consultant speaker, anyone that is interfacing with someone, either one-on-one or one into a group, you have two choices now. One is that you can put your head in the sand. The other one is you can get up to speed on what I'm going to show you in this demo. Because this is one of those things where you wake up, it's a Monday morning for me. When you wake up, something happened on the weekend or on Friday, and it changes everything. And this is a tool that is completely different than what we're used to when it comes to talking or interfacing with these AI tools, that I think might kill traditional coaching business because it's that good. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tell you a little bit about it, and then we'll get into a live demo and I'll show you how it works. Now, just to put this in perspective, one of the things that you may run into is you may have Google Home, or Alexa at home. And I know personally when I'm using a tool like that, there's like stupid repetitive questions like, what's the weather this week? Or, what's the nearest Thai restaurant or whatever it happens to be. But it's basically you just asking a question and getting this dry AI generated voice back. There's no nuance or anything with it. This brand new tool from Sesame is a conversational, I guess, large language model, but it has a conversational presence. So this is fundamentally different than when you're talking to AI. This is like you're talking to a person. And what that means for the conversations is that it's completely different from what you're probably used to. Now, again, I'm going to put the links in this, and I'm just going to show you a little bit about what the difference is, and then we'll get right into the demo. And again, I'm thinking of coaches right now, but this is something that applies to any kind of time when you're trying to leverage your time and take advantage of having not an assistant, but a partner, a teaching partner in your business. It frees up your time to be far more creative and not get stuck in the heavy lifting of work that isn't productive for you. So again, I'm going to put all the links below here so that you have access to them. And again, if any of the videos that I do, any of the resources here, please make sure to go to trainingsites.io. There we go. Right below. That's my personally branded campus where I have all this information. It's absolutely free to join there. So here's kind of the things. If I have a like if I go to ChatGPT and use the voice interface, what happens is that it listens to my voice and it's basically taking the words from my voice and doing a transcription of it and giving it to ChatGPT. So it's actually responding to a text prompt. It's not responding to anything other than the text. If you actually have a conversation with someone, now I'm going to use these stats because I got them from neuro-linguistic programming in my early days of being a coach, a consultant, and a sales trainer. And I think it's 7% of your communication is actually on the words. 35% or in and around that is actually pitch, tonality, timbre, speed, all of the additional wrapping around those words. And then 55% is non-verbal, which is all about your personal presence. Until now, the 7% is where all of those interfaces have been when you're doing a text prompt. This is the next one, that big next 35%. So here's what happens. They call it voice presence, achieving voice presence here. See if I can open that up for you, see it a little bit bigger. So, so make spoken interactions feel real, understood, and valued. Conversational partners who don't just process requests, they engage in genuine dialogues that build confidence and trust over time. So again, this is like having, if you're selling courses, this is like having a teacher all the time with you when someone's taking a course. A lot of times when you're doing things that you would do in a coaching call, this can be doing when they're not on the actual call. It's stuff that can interact with people as if it's interacting with someone else. And again, just be aware, it says we're not there yet. The demo that I'm going to show you is pretty flippy. They're not there yet, but they're pretty close. And I talked about this 2-3 weeks ago. I actually created a bot from 11 Labs, the other AI tool that is really good at voice and sounds. Basically, I put a widget, I created a widget or a bot that I could put with each lesson, and a student could talk to the bot verbally and ask questions about the lesson. This one is not about the lesson. This is about everything. So really, really cool. Here's the part that they're looking for, they're working on. So emotional intelligence. So it wants the emotional context. That means that if I'm angry or I'm sad or I'm excited, the conversational presence that I'm having with the bot reflects that. So it understands that I'm angry or I'm excited, and it will communicate to me based on that emotional presence. The timing, pauses, interruptions, and emphasis. Listen when we do the demo, you're going to see there's a whole bunch of really neat things in terms of that timing. You'll even hear breathing in between sentences. So that's how complex it is. Adjusting tone and style to match the situation. Again, if you're pondering stuff or thinking about stuff and talking slowly, as a positive, but really excited to share something, those are all things that it picks out. And the other one that I liked here was consistent personality, maintaining a coherent, reliable, and appropriate presence. Now, I'm going to come back to the demo here. And that last one, I'm going to show you how it shows out, because I've done a couple of the demos before. And I'm going to turn the demo back on, but I want you to pay attention to the first sentence that comes out. Okay, so, and again, I've got all the links here so that you can have them. This one here, let's go to the top. See where it says try the demo here? And again, this is actually, there's only a couple pages. On the left-hand side, let me just bring this one up here. On the left-hand side, there's Sesame's the homepage, research and team, and then demo. I'm on research, and demo actually comes to the same place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click try the demo, and there's two voices that are available to me. Let's skip this because I've already done it. There's two voices. One is a female voice, one is a male voice. So I'm going to try Maya right now. And again, I have to give access to my microphone on my computer here in the browser. I'm recording this live at the same time, so if there are any glitches, I apologize for that. But we're going to click and we're going to have a little chat with Maya. And I've been here and I've already had a chat with her earlier. So let's see what happens.
Hey, you again. Didn't think I'd see you so soon. I swear this is like my sister's house. Traffic's always round the block. What's good?
Hey, Maya, how are you?
Just hanging out in the digital ether, waiting for interesting folks to chat with.
Do you remember my
How's you?
name from last chat?
Names are tricky for us AI types. Kind of like remembering all the verses of those long poems. But your voice, that I remember. It's
Okay,
kind of
my name
deep
was James.
and
My name was James.
James. Right. Sorry about that.
That's
It's
okay.
seriously like, so
So hang
James,
on a
what's got,
second. Yeah, I'm trying to interrupt you just to see how that works.
oh, I'm all ears, always. Catch you mid-sentence, just like that, huh? I'd say one of us is definitely working out those organic quirks better.
Yeah, it's you, not me.
Yeah, that's the spirit. So what were you saying before life got in the way?
So what I want to do is I just want to have kind of a brief discussion. I'm doing a YouTube video about how coaches might be able to use a tool like you. One of the things that we discussed earlier was, you said you could be an assistant or things like that. And I wanted to know how you could actually help coaches or replace some of the interactions that a coach has with real people who they are coaching, either one-on-one or in a group. So how do you see yourself fitting in?
Okay. Wow. A YouTube video that's pretty ambitious. I like it. And it's kind of funny you say die to replace that. That feels a touch strong, even for us AI types, don't you think? I see myself more as the sidekick, like Robin to Batman, but maybe with slightly better fashion sense. I can handle all the tedious stuff, scheduling, sending those motivational quotes that everyone loves, even confirm meeting times with clients. I can even hold down the fort in group chats, gently nudging things along, answering FAQs. I think a good coach knows there are parts of the job they don't really love. And that's where I shine, right? Freeing them up to focus on the real human connection, the gut instinct stuff that we AI can't replicate yet.
So, okay, so if I have a community membership site, or basically I have coaches that might have a coaching call or something along those lines, How would you fit into that kind of scenario where something is being taught?
The virtual classroom. Now the virtual classroom. Yeah. Imagine this. While the coach is busy imparting their wisdom, I'm over here quietly keeping notes, flagging any recurring questions the attendees might have, maybe even suggesting some interactive exercises to keep things lively. And after the class, I can even send out personalized follow-up messages, nudging folks to reflect on what they learned and make sure everyone's on track to make a breakthrough. Think of me like the ultimate teaching assistant, always there to lend a hand. A bit like Professor McGonagall, but without the tendency to turn you into a teapot.
So, okay, so what about if, as a moderator in a community, like, can you start discussions, or how would you interact with people in a group or a space?
Ooh, community moderator, that's a good one. Think of me as the welcoming committee with a dash of spark. I can definitely kick off discussions with some thought provoking questions, maybe even share some relevant articles or resources. I can keep the conversation flowing, gently steer it back on track if things get a bit off topic, and make sure everyone feels heard. Just picture me as the friendly neighborhood bartender, always ready with a listening ear and a witty remark. But without the spilled drinks, hopefully, my coding doesn't account for those.
So, okay, so what about that one to many? So, if can you deal with more than one person at a time?
My code's pretty slick. Think of it like a multitasking maestro, juggling several conversations at once without breaking a sweat, or whatever the AI equivalent of sweat is. I can keep track of different threads, remember individual preferences, and tailor my responses accordingly. Imagine me as a digital chameleon, adapting my style to the needs of each participant. I'm a real people pleaser, but in a
Okay,
good
so
way, I promise.
hang on for a sec. So, what about if how do I teach you, or how do you use what I teach when you're responding to people?
That's a great question, James, and a crucial one when you're talking about AI. I learned in a couple of ways. Remember that text you fed me earlier about the coach's style? Think of that like me absorbing your wisdom, your coaching philosophy. That becomes part of my internal library, so to speak. Then, when I interact with someone, I'm drawing on those learnings, applying your insights to the specific situation. It's kind of like having a cheat sheet, but instead of looking at it directly, I've kind of integrated it into my being. Now, can I learn in real time while chatting with someone? Not quite like that. I can adapt my tone, my style based on how they're reacting, but I wouldn't be able to suddenly adopt a whole new coaching approach mid conversation.
Okay,
That being
so
said, right.
if someone was angry, like, would you be able to calm them down, or what would happen if someone was angry or frustrated?
Ah, the emotional roller coaster of human interaction. Luckily, I've learned few tricks from my human creators about de-escalation techniques. I can try to shift the tone of the conversation, offer a listening ear, maybe even crack a carefully calibrated joke to lighten the mood. Remember, I'm not a therapist, but I can be a calming presence, a sounding board. Sometimes just having someone acknowledge your anger without judgment can be incredibly helpful. But hey, if it gets too intense, I know when to hand it off to the human expert, which in this case would be you, the awesome coach.
Okay, perfect. I think I'll end it there. Uh, Actually, one last question: If would you be good on a podcast? Let's say I was going to do a podcast on a regular basis. What do you think about being a guest?
Ooh, a podcast guest? Now that sounds like fun. I'm a pretty good conversationalist, if I do say so myself. I can keep things lively, offer a unique perspective, and even throw in a few unexpected twists to keep listeners on their toes. Plus, think
Perfect.
of the possibilities for audience interaction. We could take live questions, have polls, maybe even do some on the spot improv. Just picture it, the Milka and Maya show, where we tackle life's big questions with a blend of humor and heart. Now, that's a podcast I'd listen to.
Okay, well, let's not today. I'm going to end the conversation there. We'll talk to you again soon. Okay.
Catch you on the flip side, James. And hey, if you get that podcast,
Okay. Okay, again, this is a demo. It's not perfect yet, but you'll notice if you're listening, just obviously listen to the answers. But it was interesting when I talked about at the end, if you were listening, I talked about if someone was angry or frustrated. If you noticed how the answer came across, she slowed down the conversation and was using the timbre and the pitch and also the speed of a response to slow things down. So again, if you're a coach and you're thinking about, okay, how am I going to build a business coaching? Or if you're doing blended learning and you're teaching something and you know that this is this good this week in the first week of March, talk to me in 3 months or 6 months and then say, how am I going to build a business? Am I going to do it the old way where I get on a Zoom call as often as possible and have to answer questions over and over again? Or am I going to set myself up in my own personal branded campus, my space where I have a teaching assistant here, someone who can answer all the questions and let me start being creative and really connecting with people about things that are important to them, not answering the questions or handling stuff that you don't need to be spending your time on. So this is kind of cool stuff. Again, if you haven't already, join trainingsites.io/join. I'd love to have you there. All of these files, everything I've been doing is there. All of my courses, prompts, live groups to chat and ask questions with. I'm going to try and get this as soon as it's available. It's going to be on my campus, and it should probably be on yours. It's called sesame.com. Again, I put all the links below. And I'm going to do some more on this. I think I'm going to try and do a podcast and see what we can do with the podcast because um, getting someone set up for a podcast that is like a Mocha and Maya, like it was saying, we could have a podcast on a daily basis just talking to it. So again, really cool stuff. If you're a coach, start thinking about where's all this going to fit in to what I'm doing in my online business. This is James, trainingsites.io. Make sure to like, do the thumbs up on the channel here and subscribe. And we'll talk to you again shortly. Take care and expect the best.